Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, we are going to do foreclosure update. Because of this shocking news. Expect a foreclosure spike in the coming months. Juana, this is it. This is the housing crash we've all been waiting for. The foreclosure spike. It's within the coming months. Okay? All right. First quote from the article. Pandemic backlog of seriously distressed mortgages expected to fuel the increase, although bump up will remain below historical average. So it sounds exciting, but then it's going to be less than historical average. Okay?
So not so exciting.
Maybe not. Let's keep going because there might be something in here. Distressed mortgages dating back to the height of the pandemic are expected to fuel a jump in foreclosure activity over the next 12 months. Although the foreclosure rate is still expected to remain below the pre-pandemic historical average, a new report from auction.com contends this massive spike of foreclosures. Okay? Okay, you ready for the punchline? I got a bunch of charts. We're going to talk about this in detail. This article was August 3rd of 2022.
Okay, well.
So, Juana, do you remember that massive wave of foreclosures we've had within the last year and a half or a year and 3 months?
No, but it's coming.
It's coming. They predicted a massive wave of foreclosures that never happened. And they're claiming they had all the data. Okay, why is that? So let's do so I did some research. Okay. First, I'm going to do the national stuff first. Okay. I went and said, okay, what are some actual numbers here for foreclosure starts? And I got this chart from Adam. What is a foreclosure start? Because I don't understand why a foreclosure is a foreclosure. Foreclosure means the bank owns the house and you've been thrown out, right?
Well, like most things in life, it's a process. And most processes have a starting point.
Okay.
And so we've got the starting point of being late with payments and being given a notice of default. That means that you're behind on your payments.
But usually it's a couple days later, they throw you out.
Not so fast.
A couple weeks later?
Nah.
2 months later?
No.
2 years later?
No.
Oh, okay. We're going to get into that. Here's the chart. You can see foreclosure starts. The really low part was the moratoriums. When they talk about before pre-pandemic, remember, there was no foreclosure crisis from 2014 to 2019. And look at the rate of foreclosures where starts were much higher than they are today, according to this chart, okay?
Right.
But what about completed foreclosures? These are actual completed foreclosures. Here we go. Look at the number. That bottom number is actually zero. It's not like a made-up number like 40,000 or 30,000. It's zero. When you look at this chart, if you're far enough away from it, like if you're watching this on your TV, go back. Like watch it from your neighbor's house. It looks like it's zero. It might as well be zero, which just shows there's almost no foreclosures, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, this is what I did. So what I did was I wanted to find some cool charts to explain the process to everybody. So what I did was I went and pulled up the Las Vegas foreclosure numbers. Okay?
Those are always fun.
Yeah. So this is the city of Las Vegas. These are trustee deeds foreclosures. These were the actual foreclosure. I mean, this was the sale at the courthouse steps. This is a graphical depiction. It's a little bar chart that are all jammed together. But if you look back 2013, it looks like through 2019, all the way to 2020, and you compare the level of foreclosures to today is almost none. Now remember, this doesn't include the housing crash. If the housing crash were if it went back to like 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, this chart would would go off the top of your screen. Like if you're watching this on your phone, it's above your phone. The red line would go above your phone.
Right.
Right? This is now remember, I guarantee you somebody will drop in the comments, but Todd, Las Vegas is number one in the nation for foreclosures. Well, here we go. The number one in the nation. We have the worst foreclosure crisis in the world. Foreclosure sales, REO, City of Las Vegas. September of 23, we had 12. 12 for the whole month of September. We had a huge month in March. March, there were 22. Remember, we have 400,000 houses. 22 in a month is not even one a day. 12 is about about 1 in every 3 days. Okay? Not a substantial number, right? Now, what I did on this chart is very cool. Oh, let's talk about this again. Do you remember when we were buying houses at the trustee sale?
Yes.
How many houses a day were being sold down there?
I mean, they started early in the morning and they didn't finish until mid-afternoon.
80 maybe?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of houses.
80 a day. We have days. Here's the actual numbers for Vegas. Okay, we have days where there aren't. They just say we don't have anything today. There's no Las Vegas foreclosures. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a filing versus a foreclosure because when you see these articles, they always talk about filings. Okay, do you see where it says notice defaults? That's 60 NODs filed in a month. That's 2 a day. This is just for Las Vegas. This is not for, it's only for Las Vegas. Then, that's the first step of the process, right?
Right.
What is a notice of trustee sale then? Because there were 38 of those.
Right. So that means that so every notice is a step further in the process.
Okay.
So there are multiple steps. So that's the next notice that they're going to do a trustee sale, but that's not really going to happen because you have to go through all these other steps before you get there.
Okay. So there were 60, we'll just pretend these were the trailing numbers. There were 60 NODs. There were 38 notice of trustee sales. Now, in the news and in all the things you read, when they say filings, they're going to count both of those as a filing because somebody filed the notice default and they may have had it filed no default multiple times because if they wait over, I think it's 90 days, they have to file notice of default again. They have to keep filing these things, okay?
Right, and then the other thing that happens is if you cure that default, then you're late again, then that they have to file again.
Right. Nevada makes you file every 90 days, I'm pretty sure. Now, here's the thing. No trustee sale 38. 98 foreclosure filings. This is just a specific month, we'll say. But we only ended up with 13 actual foreclosures. Why is that? Why weren't all 60 houses foreclosed?
So the way I explain it is at every step of the process, that number gets halved because that default is cured, whether it's cured because the people got caught up with payments or because they did some sort of workout plan with the lender or because they sold the property to a buyer and then of course that loan was paid off, so that default again was cured. So there are steps along the way and every time you go through a step, that's why those numbers get halved. So that's why, when you start out with, to your point with 60 and then you finish with 13, that's how that happens.
Okay. This is the average days to complete a foreclosure. Now, the last line on this is 770. This is Q3 of 2023. This is the most recent data we have. It was 770 days to complete a foreclosure on average. Okay?
So that's over 3 years. I'm sorry, over 2 years.
It's over 2 years on average. Some states more, some states less. You can see how it's taken longer over time because why is this? Why would it take, why in 2007, height of the foreclosure boom, you could foreclose in a house in probably 120 days, but now it's 770.
So the states have put in all kinds of steps in the way to help borrowers work things out with their lender. So, for example, in Nevada, we have mediation, where the lender and the borrower have the opportunity to get together and work it out. Okay.
So, given that, let's just use Nevada as an example, because remember, we have the highest foreclosure filing rate. But remember, these banks have to continually file notice of defaults, multiple. We saw one, didn't we see one where they'd filed 4 or 5 NODs? We were just looking at one.
Yeah.
That one of the crash bros was using an example. But the house had only had a notice of default filed, but it was filed 4 or 5 times,
right.
Remember? Multiple times, notice of default. But the house had never been foreclosed. Matter of fact, the house was being sold. So that's one way that it's secured. The other way is somebody just comes and buys it, without a foreclosure, okay?
Right.
Where do you think Nevada falls on that 771-day timeline? Do you think we're faster or longer?
I think we're longer because we have mandatory mediation. So because we have mandatory mediation, there are a limited number of mediators. So that's part of what slows down the process.
Okay. Actually, states with the longest average foreclosure timelines for homes foreclosed in the third quarter of 2023. Louisiana, 3,000 days. Hawaii, 2,400 days. Nevada, 1,963 days.
That's over 5 years.
So if you miss your payment on average, it takes, we're seeing foreclosures today that happened in 2018, where the first notice of default was filed.
Right, and the thing that you have to understand is, what did home prices do between 2018 and today, right? They're up, depending on where you are in the valley, they're up 40%. So for a home to be foreclosed, it's not about the value of the home. It's not even about the inability of the borrower to make payments. There's something else going on there, because obviously the borrower could have sold that home at any time, made good on the loan, and put some money in their pocket because of the appreciation that we've all seen over the last few years. So, that lets you know there's something else going on with that borrower, something else going on with that loan. There's some dispute, maybe there's some sort of other legal action going on, or maybe somebody's died, or it's more than just somebody lost their job.
I'm going to put this chart back up. This is U.S. completed foreclosures, REOs. It's pretty straightforward. This trend line is one of the most compelling trend lines I've ever seen. If you're wanting to know what the future of foreclosures are, look at this chart. Look at maybe the bottom part of it in that last like 20%, and just keep going sideways on that chart. That's the trend. Foreclosures, there's nothing right now that shows foreclosures. And when they say they're up their foreclosures are up, and then they'll say they're up 2% from this super low number, because they've got to have a headline. But if you look back, that peak where it was a lot of foreclosures, that was the housing crash. And we were getting the bank-owned homes, we were flipping them at the trustee sale. There were a lot of homes being foreclosed. That's what caused the housing crash. That was it. It was, that was caused by the subprime loans, but that ultimately caused prices to crash because all these houses came on the market. And the banks were just trying to fire sell them, and they were out doing each other every week, dropping list price, trying to get their money back before the home prices tanked. Banks caused the foreclosure crisis. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. They just had a spiral to the bottom, and that was really unfortunate for all concerned. The thing that concerns me about this, and it's not something that's talked about a whole lot, the owner will carry. The owner financed sales. Those concern me, because when Nevada was one of these places where you could foreclose, in 120 to 180 days, the owner will carry, wasn't such a big deal, right? Because people could get their property back if the borrower didn't make good on the payments. But now, with Nevada taking, 5 years to foreclose, if you are an owner that is doing owner will carry, you need to be aware that it's taking much longer to foreclose. So under those circumstances, you may want to think long and hard before you finance the borrower's purchase.
Right. Bottom line is, don't get sucked off on this is the same thing as the recession. Like we had a pandemic in this time. We had unemployment was like 17%. Where were all the foreclosures? Look at here. There's no foreclosures. This idea that we would have a recession would crash housing because people couldn't make their mortgage payments. It's taking years to foreclose. Using that logic, even if they stop making their payments, it's going to take 2 to 5 years for them to get foreclosed. So you're not going to. It's not like there would be a recession, job losses, and massive amounts of foreclosures. Would happen 12 days later. And in the 2 to 5 years it takes to get actual foreclosure to happen, what would happen? Home prices go up. People just sell the house, right? They just say, I'll just do a refi. I'll go with the bank and work it out. That's why when we see that there's these defaults filed and then we actually see the number of foreclosures, it's a fraction.
Right.
And then when you look at the total number of foreclosures, there aren't any. And then just be aware, when you see a percentage number used, oh, foreclosures are up 3%, that it's basically because there are no foreclosures. The number is so low, any movement is going to be a percentage. And they won't tell you, they will never be a headline saying foreclosures are down 6%. They'll just skip that month. They'll switch and they'll find some other metric that is more sexy to do, right?
All right. Well, I happen to think that our graphs are sexy.
Ours are, I spent days copying these from other sources. Adam, I got most of these from Adam.
Okay. Do you have any more graphs?
No, I don't have any more graphs.
Okay. Wave to the people.
Oh.
All right. So please give Todd some positive reinforcement. Leave some nice comments related to his graphs in the comments section so that he knows that his graphs are appreciated. Your real estate related comments are always appreciated. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.